If you keep starting new things and nothing seems to be growing, this conversation is for you. Sometimes you've got good ideas, you have plans, but things don't seem to be moving forward. You start one thing, then another, thinking that the next idea will be your breakthrough. Sometimes you don't have an idea problem, sometimes it's just an execution problem. And what we're going to talk about right now is we're going to talk around execution being better than ideas. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. My name is Tembi, and I'm looking forward to chatting and hanging out with you tonight. So why does it matter? We all have goals. We all have desires. We've got things that we want to achieve in life. And a lot of us are honestly hardworking. A lot of us are putting in the work, and sometimes we are not seeing the results that we desire. And then we start something, we do it a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and then we get tired. Then we do the next thing. And I'm just here to say execution matters because life, the business, and the market actually awards execution more than it awards ideas. We are all taught that ideas are important. We're taught that ideas are money makers, and yes, ideas are money makers. But you know what a lot of people lack is execution. So if you can master execution, you will outrank a lot of people out there. And what makes execution hard is because it's messy, it's real life. When you're chilling there in your house, thinking up the idea, your mind thinks of the positive. And when you're in the details, when you're executing, it's difficult. You have to face the challenge of things are not how and what you thought there would be. So when you take an idea and when you start executing, there are hard things that come about, and that's what you need to navigate to outrank everybody else who's got ideas and is not executing. So what new ideas have you had, and how have you implemented or executed? So let's chat around it to say, why then does the world award execution? I chat with a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs. As much as I normally talk business, this is also powerful for your own life, where people are like, I'm going to start a podcast, or I'm going to study, or I'm going to start a business, or I'm thinking of doing this new marketing strategy. And ideas are easy and they're cool. So when you're actually doing things, there are challenges that you encounter, and you get feedback, you get real life feedback. Some things seem easy and romantic, but when you're doing it, it's like, it's actually difficult. You have to encounter customers who don't really understand your offer or your service. You need to navigate price with customers. Are they willing to pay? You also just need to see if the process holds or if things are working out like you thought they would. And the thing about execution as well is that you also need to navigate disappointment, hitting blockers. Because as I've said, things don't work out as how you thought they would be. So the first thing we need to change or focus on as entrepreneurs and business people is to understand that business, life, the market, it awards execution more than it awards ideas. Think about people in your circle. Think about how many people who have said, hey, I want to do this idea. I want to start this type of business. I know somebody who kept saying that they want to start a food business at a certain corner, and 1 to 3, a couple of months passed, there was someone there. Even myself, I remember I was still in university. I come from Esikhaweni, and I was at Rose. I'm trying to think what year it was. It was around 2009, because we're in 2026 now. It was 2009. I saw a gap in the market. I saw that we did not have a fueling station. And I did my research. I went to speak to people with fuel stations to be like, hey guys, how can I get into fuel? Because I could see that we only had one garage. And guess what? I did some research, got discouraged. I didn't take action. Guess what happened? Was it 5? No, it's not even 5. Like over 10 years, 10 years, because we've got a total garage now. Somebody built the total garage. Did I have the idea? Yes, I did. What did I do about it? So guess what? I'm trying to land the point that life awards execution. So whatever you have in your life, if you don't take the steps to do it, life will just keep moving and you won't get rewarded and you will get discouraged and it will start seeming like nothing you try works. And why? It's because you haven't stuck it out with the execution. So if it's the first thing that you remember from tonight is that business life awards execution. Actually, doing the work is worth more than changing ideas. The second thing I'd like to share is consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Life moves with consistency. And consistency is more important when things get hard. Consistency is not glamorous. Consistency is actually boring. And I am a big fan of people who are faithful to their gym routine and who are also faithful to their eating regime. A lot of us, New Year's, we're like, we are here. We're going to start gymming. We're going to change the way we eat. And then life happens. And then it's like, I don't feel like gym or my schedule. And then we start being inconsistent. So we need to train ourselves that consistency is not glamorous. When we've got a new idea, the thing about new ideas, they've got energy. They inspire us. Hey, like there's that thing to say, hey guys, I'm starting. So hence you see people with businesses, when they launches are beautiful, launches are powerful. But as things go on, as life gets difficult, as the market gets difficult, as chasing customers get difficult, people get discouraged. The thing you just need to keep at, whether it's business, whether it's life, is to remind yourself that consistency is the key to growth. Consistency is the key to getting to your goal. And what does consistency look like in business? Consistency looks like putting out the marketing. When you put out the marketing, engaging your customers, it looks like answering inquiries on time. It looks like following up again and again. And sometimes customers may seem disinterested, and sometimes it may feel disappointing and hard. And rejection is quite painful emotionally. But consistency looks like following up. It means also reviewing the numbers, actually looking at your accounting, looking at your bank accounts, looking at your accounting system and seeing what's actually working. What are we selling? How do we improve our offers? Talking to customers and just being consistent with the process. And consistency looks like showing up. And showing up can be daunting, especially with everything you do. I remember I was at a conference speaking in KZN last year, and a young man approaches me. He's like, "Hey, Sis Tembi, I want to be a chef." And I started posting, and no one is is commenting, no one is sharing. And I tried this thing, and I got discouraged, and I stopped. And I I felt such compassion. I also wanted to laugh, and I was like, "Sir, that's how it is. When you're new to things don't just blow up. Sometimes we compare ourselves to people who've been in the game for so long, people who have learned and people have gotten better. And the thing around consistency is that things get tough. And then the more you do them, the more you learn what works, you learn what doesn't work, the more you see how to get results. So the thing around consistency is boring, but you need to push through the bottom. Whatever you do, whether it is in business, whether it's in life, push through the boredom, push through the laziness where you feel like what I'm doing doesn't make a difference. And I'd like to share the 1% theory around improving 1%. It may not feel like a lot, but if you just every day keep doing 1% improvement, it compounds over time. And for your success in business, for your success in life, you need that compounding interest of improvement and consistency. So, fam, share with me what are some of your tips and things that you do to stay consistent with your goals and to stay consistent in your business. Then another thing that I'd like to share is that when we plan for our goals, we need to plan for the difficult days. I learned this cool thing from Layla Homozi, where she says that she was a fitness trainer and she's now a powerful businesswoman in the US. And she's just like, a lot of us fail in our goals because when we plan, we only plan for the ideal scenario. I'm in software, I build systems, and when we do our testing as well, we have happy day scenarios. Those are the things that we know customers, or we are expecting customers to do. So if it's a banking app, happy day scenario would be customer picks the pay option, they put in the amount correctly, they put in their beneficiary details correctly, they press pay, and everything flows happily through the system. But then again, there's unhappy and unfavorable scenario testing. This is where we need to test absurd things. What happens if the customer puts in the wrong account number? What happens when they go back? So this is the thing we also just need to apply in our lives as well, to say, what are the unhappy day scenarios that we are planning for? Do we plan for our hard days? So some of us will set plans to be like, I want to go to gym 3 times a week. What happens if your schedule doesn't allow? What is your unhappy day scenario? Have you committed to taking a walk? I know personally, I've committed to 10 minutes treadmill a day, Monday to Friday, 4 days a week. And sometimes it's tough, but it's a small commitment on my side to be like, if my week is tough, if I can't go to the gym, which seems to happen a lot, this is what I'm going to do for myself. So even for you in your business, when you plan, don't just plan for the calm weeks. Don't just plan from where you are motivated. Look at your real life to be like, how does your real life look like? I know even when I committed to coming up on Thursdays to host this live and connect with you guys, entrepreneurs, business leaders, it was a tough call for me to be like, hey, my schedule is actually tough. And starting to think, what's my best day? How's my Mondays looking like? How are my Fridays? What are my worst case scenarios? So even planning for the session, for me, it was just a worst case. What can I minimally commit to that I can stay consistent with and I can do even in my most difficult day? So fam, please engage on the chat and share what you can still do for yourself, what you can still do for your business, even on the difficult days. Cool. As we check the chats, and let me just open TikTok as well. Okay, cool. So let us now get into the mechanics of how can we do this practically. If we're saying that execution beats new ideas, it beats changing ideas, how can we get practical in terms of executing, staying consistent in our execution. The first thing that we need to do is to set clear goals. Sometimes we've got ideas, we've got things we want to do, but the goal is not clear enough. So I encourage you to be clear on your goal, to be like, what's your target? What target number, or in terms of sales, revenue, what number are you targeting? How many customers are you targeting? Are you clear on your goal? Even with your personal ambitions, with your personal goals, to be like, if I start this course, when am I aiming to finish? What is your clear goal? If your goal isn't clear, you will start getting scattered, you'll be distracted, something new and shiny will come in. And sometimes we've got this self-deception that we do as humans, where it's like, yeah, I'm still on my goal, but I'm just going to do it a different way. And that takes us slowly away from what we aim to achieve. So let us ensure that our goals are clear and we can measure those goals. The second thing that we can do is keep the plan simple. The more simple the plan is, the more simple the steps, the higher your chances of doing it. We are humans and we must plan as if we're humans. So sometimes when we're motivated, we can have an elaborate plan. And one of the examples is, we know about the 5 a.m. club and the cool things and the good things that you can achieve by waking up early. If you're not an early wake upper like me, plan, make it simple. If it's the first time doing things, don't think that now I'm going to start waking up at 4. If you're used to waking up at 7, make the plan simple. Now take yourself from 7, make it 6. Master the 6 and get earlier and earlier. So what happens? It also happens with diets as well, where the plan isn't simple, where we'll be like, I'm cutting off all sugar, I'm doing ABC. We go to the extreme, we stick for it for a couple of days, weeks, then our system crashes and then we're back to our default. So when we have a goal, we need to make the plan simple. We need to make the plan executable for ourselves. Because if the plan is complicated, we will back out of our own plan. And the sad thing around backing out of our own plan is that it messes with our psychology. So when you don't do what you say you will do, your subconscious mind records it. And your subconscious mind starts not trusting you. And the worst thing that can happen is when you don't trust you. So keep the plan simple, keep the plan executable. How many people are you going to follow up? How many people are you going to reach? What channel are you going to use? And how will you keep yourself accountable to those simple steps? And as I chat around accountability, let's chat around tracking. Tracking and measuring your progress is important. And this is like lifelong learning that we are learning as entrepreneurs, and we put ourselves out there. So track how you're doing. And an example, when I started the social media and branding journey, I had a goal to be like, every week, my commitment is to post on these platforms using a social media scheduler to make it easy for myself. So I had a goal of being on social media. I had a simple plan to be like, I'm using a scheduler. I schedule my posts. I write them, put them out there. And for me, the goal and the tracking was simple. 3 posts a week. If I can hit 3 posts, I've hit it. And then I started tracking. So looking at my scheduler calendar, I'm like, yo, I'm behind or I'm ahead. So that's just a way of tracking, to be like, this is the personal tracking I've done for myself. So in your space, in your business, in your personal life, how are you tracking what you want to achieve? How are you tracking your sales? How are you tracking your numbers? How are you tracking your customers? How are you tracking the engagements and the follow up? And if you're not tracking yourself, you may create the illusion of progress. The illusion of progress is when you're busy, busy, busy. You feel like you're doing a lot, but there's no results because the results are not being tracked. So with yourself, just track. Make it a simple measure. How do you track? Do you just open your WhatsApp? Do you open your emails? Do you check your bank account to be like, am I hitting my targets? What are the tracking mechanisms that you've put for yourself, for your business, to ensure that you are moving forward towards your goal? And I think it was Peter Drucker, the master himself of management. He says that what gets measured gets done. So if you don't measure, things don't get done. And as you grow, as you have team members, it's just a discipline where if you measure the right things, people will start pushing towards metrics because people like winning. I think I'm trying to remember the book where I read around it, whether it actually clicked for me to be like, that's why sports is interesting, because sports, you've got the scoreboard, be it tennis, be it soccer. Hey, Bafana, we are rooting for you as you play Mexico tonight. So we'll be checking the scoreboard. So when those players are on the field, they are looking at something. The coaches will be tracking a lot of things. The coaches are tracking passes, when you see those stats to be like ball possession and all those things. But for the players, the measurements are simple. Goals. That's the main thing that's being tracked. That's the main thing that will lead to victory. So even personally towards your goal, what are you tracking? How are you tracking your goals? So fam, please put it on the chat to share, how do you track your goals as a business owner, and how do you track the growth of your business? Then another thing I've been learning for myself, especially for us ambitious entrepreneurs, is that execution fails when we do too many things at once. When you want to execute, when you want to get good at execution as a person and as a business owner, you need to simplify, you need to prioritize. Sometimes we feel like we're making progress when we're doing a lot of things. And a lot of things, it splits our energy between too many things, and we end up not seeing the progress of it. And I'm cautioning this, especially to us ambitious entrepreneurs, because it feels like you're busy, man. I'm doing this. I've got this product line. I've got this service. Now you're doing too many things. You're here, you're there. The more you focus on a few things, dare I say one, get it done, use that energy and move it to the next thing, the more that you can get done for yourself, the more that you can get done for your business. And I'll be the first one to say it is not easy, because it just feels like, I'm doing a lot of things. All these things will come together. And I'm learning with the many roles that I have. I'm learning with the many ventures that I have. The more I split my energy, I can't do one thing, get it done, see the results. Next thing, get it done, see the results. Even for the team you lead, also simplify priority. What is the priority? Team, what's the first thing? And we do that thing, we see the results. Focus on results. And then you can move to the next goal. And the thing around this, it's distraction. So think around scrumming. When you're pushing one goal, when you're pushing one metric, when you're pushing a key thing as the key thing, a lot of your energy can go in there. A lot of your mental capacity can go in there, and you can get that thing done faster. You can get feedback. You can learn and then move to the next thing. And as I share the power of focus, I like to share the concept of what's the concept? It's eluding me. The concept of context switching. A lot of us think we're good at multitasking, but when we multitask, moving from this task to the next task to the next task and then back to the other task, there's a mental penalty or a mental fee that we pay, and that is called context switching. So if you could be focused on one thing, especially like deep work, where it's thinking work, you sit there for like an hour undisturbed, WhatsApp facing down, notifications off, thinking around it, doing it, finishing it, and then moving on to the next thing. You save yourself from paying the context switching penalties of jumping from one task to another. And you know, when you're on that tab and you're thinking to yourself, that's context switching. And even in the development world, especially with knowledge workers, people who need to think deeply, if you are a creative, also carve out the time for yourself so that you can save yourself from context switching. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that doing too many things weakens your execution. Fewer goals, fewer priorities, dare I say one core priority where you know that if I do this, it will move the needle. And how do you choose your priorities? One of the best ways I find of choosing my priority is, if I complete this one thing, what one thing will make all the other ventures or all the other activities irrelevant? And it is difficult. Sometimes you feel like, but I need to do this one and then I need to do marketing. But pick the one. Maybe if you really focus on that social media platform or just the video strategy, if you focus on your video strategy, you may get most of your content just from the video. So think around your different things. Maybe even with your customer engagement or your marketing, you're all over the place. You're targeting corporates, you're targeting retail customers, you're everywhere. Maybe if you just focus on your key customer, just focus to be like, if I get it right, if I get the messaging right for this customer, this will move me forward. So with your priorities, with your actions, fam, please share on the chat. What are you focusing on? Then we need to speak about the hard question. When we talk around execution, execution is hard. As I said in the beginning, ideas are easy. And it's not just hard for you, it's hard for everything. And then a question I can hear you asking is, but I'm doing this thing, I'm consistent, I've doubled down on my goal, I've got the accountability, but things don't seem to be going the way I want them to go. And at this point, we need to have a mature conversation around looking at feedback. Do I persist, keep going? Because like winners never quit and quitters never win. Or do I use the feedback and say, hey, maybe this is not the right thing for me? Do I change strategies? Do I just leave this thing? And that for me, friends, is a matter of wisdom. It's a matter of wisdom. And the thing around execution is, when you start off with an idea. You start out with an idea in your ideal world, in the ideal world of your mind. So you're thinking around this idea. You think this is how it works. But when it's in real life, you've got real customers. Sometimes you think customers want things this way, and customers will tell you a different thing. I remember, just an example, when we launched Venue app, we're like, we are cashless. Everything runs on the app and customers must pay on the app. And when we launched, we're in the market, we're with customers, and we realized that as a new brand, we need to build trust with customers. And customers were like, some customers were happy to put in their card details. Some customers were like, eh, nifuna ikhadi lami. And what did we have to do? We had to look at the situation and actually pivot and bring in solutions that would suit our customers. It wasn't our ideal when we were in the boardroom or when we were in the office, when we were creating and coding this product, we thought life would work one way. But when we're in the market with the clients, they give us feedback. So even with you, as you execute, as you do your goals, you will have feedback from customers. And sometimes you need, all the time, you need to listen to feedback. You need to decide what parts of the feedback make sense for you to listen to. And customers will give you good stuff where they're the ones you're asking their money from. So it's good to listen, but sometimes customers will lead you astray. You know the idea that you're going for, and sometimes they'll give you feedback that is in a different direction. So with that, that's where the wisdom comes in. So even as you work, even as you do your goal, sometimes when life doesn't pan out the way you thought it would, use your wisdom to be like, what do I change? How do I change my tactics? How do I change how I am doing things so that I can still achieve the same goal? And before you pivot, before you change things, how long have you been consistent for? And it's not just a timing thing, it's a repetition thing. What have you tried? Count. I've tried, people will say, I've tried social media and it hasn't worked. How many times have you posted? How often have you engaged with customers? How often have you changed your copy? Have you learned? Have you grown yourself? When sitting down and having a honest reflection with yourself, can you seriously say that I've done everything that I can to do this thing and it's just not working? And as you get that feedback, what have you seen worked? So before you pivot, check what you've done. And sometimes, fam, stopping, moving can be the right thing for you. And even in that, you will learn what it works and what doesn't work. So before we call things a failure, let's evaluate. What have I tried? What have I learned? And I love trying new things, and sometimes things don't go as planned. Don't beat yourself up for it. And as business owner, as an entrepreneur, you will make mistakes, and sometimes you will make expensive and painful mistakes. The biggest thing there for me is, what is the lesson? What is the lesson that you can take in your next steps so that you can be better? So I've got 3 questions for you, if we can engage. What have you executed consistently enough to get feedback? What is the market telling you with that feedback? And if there's a problem with that idea, is it the market's telling you something, or is the problem with your execution? We got to be honest with ourselves, and the best gift you can give yourself is extreme ownership, owning the outcomes, owning your actions so that you can grow and be better. Awesome. So we've chatted a lot today around execution, and I just want us to bring it home and say that sometimes you're doing a lot of things and you think the next idea will be your next saving grace. But sometimes it's just a matter of execution, getting better at execution. Why does this matter? Why is it important? It's important because life doesn't just award ideas, life rewards execution. It rewards people who are doers and not just thinkers. So as you think of your ideas, actually invest the energy and invest in doing things. And why does life reward doers? It rewards doers because doing is heavy, doing is difficult. And when you do, you learn new things and you grow. Sometimes you'll hit a wall and you need to bounce back. So, what do we need to do in order to be good at execution? We need to have clear goals. We need to make our plans simple. We need to track and have accountability measures. How can you stay accountable to your goals? Do you have friends? Do you have mentors? Do you have people in the industry, other business owners you can actually chat with and stay accountable to for your own growth, for your own sake? And another thing is consistency, consistency, consistency. Consistency is boring. You show up whether people are there, people are not there, whether things are going as planned, you keep posting, you keep marketing, you keep going at it because life rewards consistency. And consistency is not glamorous. Success is glamorous, but the road to it with consistency is not glamorous. And when you choose your goals, when you're executing, avoid distractions, have priorities. There's a saying that goes, when everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority at all. So save yourself from context switching, drill down, narrow your focus so that you are not doing too many things to give yourself a chance at success. Feedback is a gift. Treat feedback as a gift because feedback will be a gift for your own execution. So listen to what people are telling you and then have the wisdom to decide whether the feedback is taking you towards your intended direction or it's leading you astray. Stay accountable and have the discipline to finish. And as we end tonight, we're just saying that ideas are easy. Ideas give you motivation. Ideas give you energy. But it is in execution where everything becomes real and you actually get to achieving your goals. So with that, fam, thank you very much for joining. And the question is, for me, as you execute, how will you become consistent? So looking forward to having you and join me next week as well as we discuss business leadership and entrepreneurship. So thank you very much for joining and see you next week. Peace.